I'm so happy to have you here.
This is unreal, honestly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I sort of was submitting myself for jobs on one of the casting breakdown sites, and there was a job for a request for an actress for an infomercial. And I was like, oh, that feels like, something that's sort of like in the actor's requirement, like you must do an infomercial at some point, right? Law and Order, so I submitted myself. It did list the name of the product, but it was spelled incorrectly. So it said the Shinny Hinny, and it said it was a personal cleaning product. Nerd me would not have put it together that someone doesn't know how to spell properly.
Yeah.
And I get to set essentially after being cast and find out that it's what you mentioned, my Shiny Hiney, and that it is in fact a brush that cleans your butthole, which truthfully I didn't even know existed until this happened.
Well, it literally looks like a fake commercial. Yeah.
It looks like a toothbrush for your butt.
You don't want to get those mixed up at all.
And it looks like a fake commercial. And so, I shot this thing. I mean, I was resistant. I got there and I was like, ooh, no, I'm not doing this. And then essentially they talked me into it. I did it. It was like, no one's ever going to see it. It's whatever. And then 6 months later, the producer from the infomercial texts me a link to the Ellen show from that day. And like she and Kristen Bell are literally showing my infomercial and talking smack about it.
Let's recap. Yeah. Here are your options before this came along. You could use that man's hand. That's a man's hand.
Only that man's hand.
Whoever he is, that guy. There's a towel.
The guest towel, it looks like.
Looks like from the guest
Don't
bathroom.
want to mess up your hand.
Then there's a loofah, which is, to me, too large.
The next day, the same thing happened. I mean, I wouldn't have known, but the producer sent me another link, and it's her and Kate Hudson. And so finally, I'm like, as I always do, all right, how can I make the most of this opportunity? What can I do here? You got to create your own opportunities really in this industry so much. So I wrote on Ellen's Facebook wall, and I was just like, you guys might be making fun of me, but my butt's been cleaner than all of yours for months now, or whatever I wrote. And yeah, sure enough, the next day I got a call from a producer over there. They were like, we don't know how this happened, but somehow it's turned into Shiny Honey Week. We want to fly you out here. And yeah, I essentially went out. I will also say that was the first time I had attempted getting sober. So I was like it was just a lot. It was a lot. Like I was very emotional because it felt like one of those signs, like from the universe, like, oof, I'm going to get emotional, but like, you're doing the right thing. Right. Like I was maybe like 2 months in, and into my sobriety, and that literally I'm going to be on the Ellen show. I'm flying across the country, and it just felt like one of those like experiences where I was given a sign from the universe, like you're doing it. And yeah, I was a wreck. I was so nervous. I'd never done anything like that before. I was so nervous. I was, like I said, emotional, and I was exhausted because I had worked a bartending shift the night before. It was all very last minute. So I think I was on like 2 hours of sleep, and then like went right into the studio and did the thing. It was just all very overwhelming, but amazing, an amazing experience.
Well, she lives in New York, but it's Shiny Hiney Week, so I wanted her to be part of it. I flew her here. Please welcome Miss Shiny Hiney herself, Sarah Pribis. You must have been proud of it. You must have told everybody when you got that spot. How many people?
So this happened, I filmed this a year ago, and I literally told 5 people.
5 people?
5.
Yeah, I was curious what the emotion was behind that, because like it was funny watching your interview and saying like, I told like 5 people that I did this. And then like, I was curious what the response was like seeing it on like national TV as like, because I think for some people they'd be like, oh no, oh my God, like there's this thing that's now live. But like you said, you made the most out of a situation and just went with it. And I think that's a really cool opportunity to happen, like in a very unconventional way. Like I'm sure you envisioned yourself on the Ellen show at some point, but in a totally different,
not in that
different
way.
format.